The camera slowly zooms in on a bustling real estate office. The sound of typing on keyboards and the soft murmur of phone calls fills the air. Employees are sitting at their desks, working hard, each focused on their own tasks. Everything seems normal, too normal. From the outside, it looks like just another ordinary day at the office. But behind the routine of paperwork and phone calls, something is lurking. Something that no one expects. As the camera moves through the office, we see workers glancing at each other suspiciously. There's a sense of unease, as if they know someone is watching. But not the right person. The boss, the one who should be watching them, isn't paying attention. And that's where everything begins to go wrong. Cut to a close-up of the boss, standing in front of a mirror, adjusting his tie. He's not in his usual office attire. Instead of his sharp suit and professional look, he's dressed in casual clothes, something that helps him blend in with the crowd. Today, he's not the boss everyone knows. Today, he's a regular employee. And he's about to go undercover. The boss takes a deep breath, staring at his reflection, his face showing a mix of determination and doubt. He knows this is risky. He knows that what he's about to do could change everything. But the truth is, he has no choice. He has to find out what's really going on in his office. What are his workers hiding behind his back? The camera lingers on his face for a moment, capturing the seriousness in his eyes. Then he walks toward the door, looking back one last time before he steps into the unknown. Voiceover. What happens when the boss isn't watching? What secrets do the workers hide? Today, we're about to find out. Get ready for the shocking truth. The scene cuts sharply to black, and dramatic music begins to play. The tension builds as quick flashes of the upcoming events are shown. A worker sneaking a file into a drawer, another worker whispering nervously to a colleague, and someone else looking over their shoulder to make sure no one is watching. These moments are quick, just enough to raise the tension, but not enough to give away the full story. The camera quickly shifts back to the boss, now entering the office, looking completely different. He's not the confident leader they all know. He's now just another face in the crowd. His disguise is perfect, and no one suspects a thing. He walks through the office, scanning his new environment with careful eyes. He watches as people greet him without recognizing him, all while pretending to be one of them. To the workers, he's just another new employee trying to fit in. To the boss, though, this is his chance to see what's really going on. He's determined to find out the truth, no matter what. The camera follows him closely, showing the small, unnoticed moments. A worker hands over a large sum of money to another worker in the corner, glancing around to make sure no one sees. The whispered conversation between two employees turns into a nervous laugh, as if they're sharing a secret. The boss notices it all. He sees the way they behave when they think no one is watching. He feels the unease in the air. Voiceover. Something is off here. The workers seem to be hiding something. But what is it? The boss doesn't know yet, but he's starting to get a bad feeling. The camera cuts to another scene, showing a worker quickly closing a drawer as the boss walks by. It's too quick, too sudden. The boss watches closely, his curiosity piqued. Why is this worker hiding something? What's in that drawer? As the boss takes a seat at his desk, the camera zooms in on his face. He's calm, but his mind is racing. Every small action, every odd glance, seems to be a clue. He's beginning to realize that there's much more happening here than he could have ever imagined. His workers are hiding something. Something big. Voiceover. The boss is starting to see it now. It's not just about small mistakes or minor issues. Something much darker is at play. But what is it? Suddenly, the office door opens, and another employee enters, holding a folder. The worker looks around nervously before slipping the folder into a drawer. The boss watches silently, his eyes narrowing. He knows something isn't right. The tension continues to build, and the camera zooms in on the boss as he adjusts in his chair, preparing for what he's about to discover. What are these workers really up to? What are they hiding from him? He's about to find out. The camera shifts to a wider shot, showing the workers at their desks, all oblivious to the fact that their boss is sitting right there among them. But how long will it be before their secrets start to unravel? Voiceover. The truth will surprise you, but what happens next will leave you speechless. The music crescendos as the screen fades to black, leaving the audience with a sense of anticipation. What's going to happen next? The suspense is building, and the only way to find out is to keep watching. The scene opens with a wide shot of the real estate office. It's early in the morning, and the workers are slowly trickling in, ready to begin their day. The buzz of conversation fills the air, but something feels different today. It's not the usual noise of phones ringing and papers shuffling. No, today there's an underlying tension. Cut to the boss's office. The door is closed, and the lights are dim. The boss is sitting at his desk, his hands clasped together. He stares out the window, deep in thought. There's a lot on his mind. He's been hearing whispers, rumors about his employees. People say that things are going wrong in the company, but he can't just take their word for it. He needs to know the truth for himself. He leans forward, the weight of the decision heavy on his shoulders. The camera zooms in on his face as he takes a deep breath. Voiceover. For months now, the boss has been hearing strange things. Rumors, whispers. But he's never seen the full picture. He's been too busy running the business, too focused on the bigger picture. But now something feels different. Something's off. The boss looks down at the papers scattered across his desk. Reports, profit margins, client meetings. It's all the same, but his mind isn't on the numbers today. It's on his workers, the ones he's trusted. He stands up, walking to the window, gazing out at the city below. His thoughts are clouded with doubt. He spent years building this business, but now he wonders if it's all falling apart without him even noticing. What are his workers really doing when he's not around? What are they hiding from him? Voiceover. He's spent years building this company, making sure everything runs smoothly. But now, the truth is coming to light, and the boss knows. He needs to see it for himself. Suddenly, the boss's phone buzzes on the desk. He picks it up, and a text message flashes on the screen. It's from an anonymous source, someone inside the company. The message is brief, but to the point. They're up to something. You need to find out before it's too late. The boss's grip tightens around the phone. His heart races. This isn't just a feeling anymore. This is real. His workers are hiding something from him. And now, he has no choice but to act. He can't let his business fall apart because he didn't pay attention. Voiceover. The message from the anonymous source confirms his worst fears. His workers are hiding something. Something big. But what? And why? Cut to the boss preparing for his undercover mission. He opens the closet in his office, pulling out a plain shirt and jeans. The camera focuses on his hands as he carefully takes off his tie and places it on the desk. He looks at himself in the mirror one last time. This isn't the confident boss anymore. This is a regular employee, just another face in the crowd. The transformation is complete. He's ready to step into their world. The boss knows this will be risky, but it's the only way to uncover the truth. If his workers think he's just another employee, maybe they'll reveal things they would never tell their actual boss. Voiceover. Today, the boss is no longer the leader of the company. He's just another employee. And with that comes a chance to see the truth. But what will he discover? And will his workers ever know he's watching them? He takes a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. This is uncharted territory for him. For years, he's been the one making the decisions, the one in control. Now he's giving up that power, stepping into the shadows to see what happens when the boss isn't in charge. Cut to him walking down the hallway of the office, blending in with the employees as they begin their day. No one recognizes him. He's just another face. The workers go about their business, completely unaware of the man who once signed their paychecks, now sitting among them. The camera focuses on the boss as he takes his seat at a random desk, carefully observing his surroundings. The office feels different when you're not the one calling the shots. There's an energy in the air that he's never noticed before, a certain tension that seems to hang over everything. He doesn't know what it is, but he feels it. The boss sits at his desk, blending in with the crowd. He watches carefully, listening to the conversations around him. He's trying to get a sense of what's really going on here. But the deeper he looks, the more uncomfortable he feels. Something is off. The camera cuts to a close-up of the workers. One of them, Sarah, is hurriedly typing on her computer, glancing nervously over her shoulder. Another, Jake, is speaking to a colleague in hushed tones, looking down at his phone with a worried expression. The boss watches all of this, his instincts telling him that something isn't right. Voiceover. Every small detail is starting to add up. The quick glances, the whispered conversations. The boss can feel it now. There's something happening here, something he's been blind to for too long. But what is it? As the day moves on, the boss starts to see more signs that things aren't as they should be. Workers are constantly looking over their shoulders, talking in low voices, and hiding things from each other. It's as if they know they're not supposed to be doing whatever it is they're doing. The boss leans back in his chair, his mind racing. He knows he can't be sure yet, but the pieces are starting to come together. There's a secret here, and it's only a matter of time before he uncovers the truth. Voiceover. The first day is over, but the boss is far from finished. The mystery is only beginning. And as he watches his workers, he knows one thing for sure. Things are about to get much worse. The morning has passed quickly, and the boss is starting to get a feel for what's happening in the office. He watches the workers go about their daily routines, but something still doesn't sit right with him. It's in the little things, the odd glances, the hurried movements, the nervous energy that seems to fill the air. It's almost as if they're hiding something, but the boss can't quite put his finger on it yet. The camera focuses on the boss as he watches Sarah, one of the senior workers. She's sitting at her desk, tapping away at her computer, but her eyes are darting around the room. Every time someone walks by, she quickly minimizes her screen. The boss notices it, and his suspicion grows. Voiceover. Sarah has always been one of the most reliable workers, but today there's something different about her. She keeps glancing over her shoulder, as if she's afraid of being caught. What's she hiding? The boss leans in closer to his own desk, pretending to focus on the work in front of him. But his eyes never leave Sarah. He watches as she closes her email inbox quickly and locks her computer with a swipe of her hand. It's the kind of behavior that immediately raises questions. He's seen this before. Employees who are hiding something. But what? Cut to Jake, another worker. He's sitting in a corner of the office, speaking quietly to a colleague. His tone is low, and the boss can barely make out what they're saying, but he can tell it's not the usual small talk. There's an intensity in the conversation that stands out. The colleague nods quickly, and Jake hands over a folder, one that looks important, but the boss can't see the contents from his seat. Voiceover. Jake is talking to someone he shouldn't be talking to. There's something secretive in their conversation, and then he hands over a folder, one he definitely doesn't want anyone to see. What's in it, and why does he seem so nervous? The boss is no longer just a passive observer. His instincts are kicking in, telling him that something is wrong. He's starting to see patterns. It's not just one employee, but several. Every time someone walks past him, they seem to avoid making eye contact. Every whisper between employees feels charged, like they're trying to hide something from him. His mind races as he remembers the rumors he'd heard before he came undercover. Talk of workers skimming off the company's profits, of shady deals going down under his nose. But could it really be true? Or was he just hearing things? As the day continues, the boss gets up to stretch his legs and walk around the office. He heads to the break room, hoping to overhear a conversation that might shed some light on what's really going on. But when he steps inside, the conversation stops. The workers sitting at the table quickly change the subject, their faces going pale as they notice him. Voiceover. Everywhere he goes, he feels the eyes of his workers on him. There's a strange, uncomfortable silence whenever he enters a room. The boss can't help but feel like they're hiding something, but what could it be? He grabs a cup of coffee and tries to shake off the feeling of unease. As he sips the warm drink, he watches Sarah again. She's talking to a client on the phone, but her voice is shaky. The boss can tell that something's off. She's usually calm and collected, but today, her nervousness is clear. He notices her glancing at the clock every few seconds, as if she's waiting for something or someone. The boss's curiosity grows. He wonders who she's waiting for and why. Is there something going on behind his back that he hasn't seen yet? Voiceover. Sarah's voice is trembling. It's not like her at all. She keeps checking the clock, as if she's waiting for something or someone. What's going on? Is she part of something bigger? The boss can feel the walls closing in. As the afternoon moves on, the boss's observations become sharper. He watches as one worker, Tom, leaves his desk and sneaks into the supply room. Tom is usually the first to volunteer for extra work, the kind of employee who's always busy, always helpful. But today, something is different. His movements are quick and purposeful, and he's not carrying any files or papers, which is unusual. The boss follows him at a distance, careful not to raise any suspicion. Tom enters the supply room and stays in there for several minutes. The boss waits, watching the door. When Tom finally emerges, he doesn't look at anyone. His face is hidden, and he walks quickly back to his desk. Voiceover. Tom has always been a hard worker, but today he's acting strange. He disappears into the supply room, staying inside for what feels like an eternity. What could he be doing in there? And why didn't he want anyone to see? The boss feels the weight of the day pressing down on him. The small signs are starting to add up. He knows there's something happening in this office, something he wasn't prepared for. But what is it? And who can he trust? As he sits back down at his desk, he tries to process everything he's seen. He doesn't want to jump to conclusions, but it's hard to ignore the signs. There's a sense of secrecy in the air, a feeling that everyone around him is hiding something. Voiceover. The boss is starting to see the bigger picture now. The small things, the odd behavior, it's all starting to add up. His workers are hiding something, but he can't quite figure out what it is yet. The tension in the office is building, and the boss knows it's only a matter of time before the truth is revealed. The boss takes a deep breath and looks around the office. He's beginning to feel like an outsider in his own company. For the first time in a long time, he's questioning everything he thought he knew. Voiceover. The first day is coming to an end, but the boss's journey is just beginning. What he's seen today is only the tip of the iceberg. There's more to this than he could have ever imagined. The day has ended, and the office is starting to empty out. Employees are packing up their things, getting ready to head home. But as the workers leave, the boss remains. He sits at his desk, his mind racing with everything he's witnessed throughout the day. The pieces of the puzzle are slowly coming together, but they still don't form a clear picture. There's something bigger going on here, and he's not going to leave until he figures it out. As the last few employees walk out the door, the boss stands up and walks through the office. The lights flicker as he moves through the rows of empty desks, the silence in the air almost suffocating. He feels like an intruder in his own company, a stranger in a place he's known for years. The trust he once had in his team is slowly fading away, replaced by suspicion and doubt. The boss heads toward the break room. He needs to gather his thoughts and figure out what's really going on. As he enters, he notices a small piece of paper on the floor near the door. It's a receipt, crumpled and discarded. He picks it up, his eyes scanning the details. Voiceover. A small detail, easily overlooked. A receipt, thrown away in haste. The boss picks it up, but what's written on it might be more important than he realizes. Could this be the clue he's been waiting for? The receipt is for a large cash transaction, something that doesn't seem to fit with the usual office expenses. The boss frowns, turning it over in his hands. This is unusual. His employees don't deal with cash, especially not in large amounts. His suspicions rise. He decides to do a little more digging. The next day, the boss is back in the office, but this time he's more determined. He's going to take a closer look at what's going on behind the scenes. He's not going to let his employees think they can get away with whatever they're hiding. As the day unfolds, the boss watches as workers come and go, but he's particularly focused on Jake. Earlier in the day, he saw Jake sneaking around the office, looking around nervously before disappearing into the supply room. Now, Jake is acting even more suspicious. He's talking on the phone in a quiet, low voice. The boss can't hear the conversation, but Jake's body language speaks volumes. He's tense, anxious, glancing over his shoulder to make sure no one is watching him. Voiceover. Jake's behavior is becoming harder to ignore. The tension in his body, the way he speaks on the phone. It's clear he's hiding something. But what? Who is he talking to, and why does he look so worried? The boss watches carefully, trying not to draw attention to himself. His instincts tell him that Jake is hiding something. This isn't just about workplace gossip or a simple misunderstanding. There's something much darker going on. Later that afternoon, the boss notices something even more disturbing. Sarah, the once reliable worker, is walking quickly toward the elevator, her eyes darting around as if she's expecting someone to follow her. The boss can't help but feel that she's acting like someone who has something to hide, someone who's being careful to cover their tracks. She steps into the elevator and presses the button for the basement. Voiceover. Sarah is moving with purpose, her eyes darting around nervously. There's something off about her behavior. The boss follows at a distance, sensing that she's about to reveal more than she intended. The boss follows Sarah down the hallway, keeping his distance. He watches as she enters the elevator and presses the button for the basement floor. The basement? That's strange. No one ever goes to the basement unless they have a reason, and Sarah has never given him any reason to think she would go there. The elevator doors close, and the boss hesitates for a moment. He knows he shouldn't follow her. He doesn't want to blow his cover, but his curiosity gets the better of him. He moves quickly toward the stairs, hoping to catch a glimpse of what Sarah is up to. He reaches the basement just as the elevator doors open. He hides behind a pillar, watching Sarah step out, looking around nervously before disappearing around the corner. Voiceover. The boss is close now, watching Sarah as she moves further into the unknown. What's in the basement? And why is she down there? The answers are just out of reach, but the boss is getting closer. The boss quietly follows, trying to stay out of sight. He moves through the basement, where the lights are dim and the air smells musty. The basement is nothing like the rest of the office. It's cold and empty, with boxes and storage shelves stacked against the walls. But what catches his attention is a small door at the end of the hallway. It's half open, and from where he stands, he can hear voices coming from inside. The boss approaches cautiously, pressing his ear to the door. He can make out a few words. The conversation is heated, with Sarah's voice rising in frustration. She's arguing with someone, and the tension in her voice is unmistakable. Voiceover. Sarah's voice is unmistakable now. She's arguing with someone, and it's clear that the stakes are high. What is she hiding? And why is she so desperate to keep it a secret? He can't hear everything, but he catches a few key words. Payment, deadline, and we need to get rid of the evidence. His heart races. What is going on down there? And why is Sarah talking about evidence? The boss knows he can't stay here any longer. He retreats quietly, his mind racing with the new information he's just learned. Sarah is involved in something much bigger than he realized, and the deeper he digs, the more dangerous it becomes. The next day, the boss is more determined than ever to uncover the truth. He spends the entire day watching Sarah, Jake, and the others closely. He knows they're hiding something, but now he's starting to realize that this isn't just about a few bad decisions or mistakes. There's something far more serious going on here, something that could destroy everything he's worked for. The office has never felt so cold. The usual hum of activity is now replaced with an eerie silence that hangs in the air. The boss is no longer just an observer. He's becoming a part of something bigger, something dangerous. As the days go by, his suspicions have only grown stronger, and he's certain now his workers are involved in something illegal. What was once a quiet whisper of doubt has turned into a full-blown truth that he can no longer ignore. But the closer he gets to the truth, the more complicated things become. The workers are no longer just his employees. They are strangers, people he doesn't know at all. The mask of trust that once existed between him and his team is shattered, and all he has now is his determination to uncover the full extent of the deceit. The camera shows the boss walking through the office one morning, his face hard and focused. He's more cautious than ever, aware that the deeper he goes, the more dangerous this situation becomes. If he's caught, everything will be over, and his company could be ruined. Voiceover. The boss feels the weight of his investigation on his shoulders. Every move he makes could be his last. He's digging deeper into a world he didn't know existed, and with every step, he risks everything. But the truth must come out. The tension is palpable as he watches the workers at their desks. He's looking for any hint, any small detail that could provide more insight into the operations behind his back. Then it happens. Jake, the one he's been watching most closely, steps out of his office and heads toward the supply room again. The boss doesn't hesitate. He follows, moving quickly but carefully, trying to stay out of sight. Jake enters the room. But this time, it's different. He's not just taking supplies. The boss can see Jake's hands gripping something tightly, a briefcase, locked and sealed. The boss's heart races. What is Jake doing with that briefcase? Why is it so important? It doesn't make sense. Voiceover. Jake's behavior is more suspicious than ever. He's carrying a briefcase, locked and sealed. What could be inside? And why does he look so desperate to keep it a secret? The boss steps closer, trying to get a better look. He watches Jake enter the supply room, then hears the unmistakable sound of a lock clicking shut. Jake is clearly up to something, and the boss is determined to find out what. He stands there for a few moments, wondering if he should confront Jake now or wait for the right moment. Then the door opens, and Jake steps out, without the briefcase. He looks around, glancing over his shoulder before quickly heading back to his desk. The boss moves in. This is his chance. He slips into the supply room just as Jake leaves, and his eyes immediately fall on the small locked cabinet at the back of the room. He pulls at the handle and finds it's locked. But his curiosity is stronger than the lock. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small tool, using it to pick the lock. It's a risky move, but he's willing to take it. The lock clicks open, and the boss carefully pulls the door open. His eyes widen as he sees what's inside. Voiceover. The cabinet creaks open, and inside, the boss finds something that leaves him speechless. It's not just paperwork. It's much worse. The contents are a direct threat to everything he's worked for. Inside the cabinet, there are stacks of cash, documents detailing under-the-table deals, and even illegal contracts with shady third parties. The boss stares at the evidence, his mind spinning. This is much worse than he thought. His workers, his trusted team, have been running a secret operation right under his nose, funneling money, and making deals behind his back. Voiceover. This is no longer just a simple case of workplace mismanagement. This is a conspiracy, a criminal operation that runs deep, and the boss is standing right in the middle of it. The boss's hands shake as he picks up one of the documents. It's a contract signed by his employees, involving money laundering and illegal property deals. His heart sinks. This wasn't just a mistake or a few bad decisions. This was a carefully planned operation. The people he trusted most were betraying him, using his company as a front for illegal activity. But the boss doesn't have much time. He can hear footsteps coming down the hallway. Someone is approaching, and if they find him in the supply room, it's over. He quickly grabs the most important documents and slips out, just as Jake walks past the room. Voiceover. The boss is on the edge now. He has the evidence, but his time is running out. Every second counts. He knows that he must act before anyone realizes what he's discovered. He retreats to his office, locking the door behind him. His mind is racing. What does he do now? He can't confront his employees directly, not yet. The risk of tipping them off is too high. He needs to find a way to gather more evidence and bring the entire operation to light. But it's dangerous. The people involved won't go down without a fight, and the boss knows that. Suddenly, there's a knock at his door. The boss freezes. It's Sarah. She enters with a nervous smile, pretending everything is normal. But the boss can see through it. There's fear in her eyes. She's trying to cover her tracks, trying to keep up the facade. Voiceover. Sarah knows that the boss is getting close. She can feel the tension in the air, but she doesn't realize how much he already knows. She's playing a dangerous game, but the boss is about to turn the tables. The boss stands up and faces her, his expression cold. "We need to talk," he says, his voice calm but firm. Sarah pales. She knows something is wrong, but she has no idea just how much the boss knows. Voiceover. Sarah steps into the lion's den. She has no idea that the boss is already steps ahead. The truth is closing in, and soon, the walls will come crashing down. The boss sits down, locking eyes with her. "I know what you've been doing," he says quietly, watching her reactions closely. "I know about the briefcase, the money, and the deals. And I know who's been pulling the strings." Sarah stammers, unable to form a coherent sentence. The boss can see the panic on her face. She knows that it's over, but there's more. There's someone else involved in this, a bigger player. And the boss is ready to find out who. Voiceover. The game is changing. The boss is finally taking control. But as Sarah tries to cover her tracks, he knows that this is just the beginning. Someone else is behind this, and they won't let him walk away easily. The office feels suffocating. The walls, once familiar and comforting, now seem to close in on the boss as he sits at his desk, the weight of the evidence heavy in his hands. The documents, the cash, and the shady deals. It's all too much to process at once. He's not just uncovering workplace misconduct anymore. He's discovered a full-blown criminal enterprise hiding within the company he built. The people he trusted most have betrayed him, and now he must decide what to do next. The clock is ticking, and the longer he waits, the more danger he faces. The boss knows he can't confront everyone all at once. He has to be strategic. If he approaches this the wrong way, it could destroy everything. His company, his reputation, and his entire career could be shattered in an instant. But he also knows that if he doesn't act soon, it may be too late. The conspiracy is bigger than he ever imagined, and the people involved are dangerous. Voiceover. The boss has reached a tipping point. He's uncovered enough to know that his entire company is at risk. But now, it's time to decide how far he's willing to go to uncover the truth, and how much he's willing to lose in the process. With the evidence secured, the boss spends the next few hours carefully analyzing every document, trying to piece together the entire operation. The money laundering, the illegal deals with contractors, and even the bribes paid to officials. It's all there, laid out in black and white. It's all linked back to the employees he thought he knew. But there's something else, something that doesn't add up. Amidst the papers, the boss finds a set of strange notes written in code. The handwriting is familiar, but he can't quite place it. Who wrote these notes? And why were they hidden among the files? He carefully sets them aside, knowing they'll be important later. As the afternoon passes, the boss prepares for the inevitable. He knows he can't confront everyone at once. The confrontation must be calculated, precise. He needs to get to the bottom of this, and he needs answers from Sarah and Jake. They are the key players in this entire scheme, and they're both desperately trying to cover their tracks. The boss has a plan. It's risky, but it might be his only chance to bring the truth to light. He decides to arrange individual meetings with Sarah, Jake, and a few other employees he suspects may be involved. He knows that the longer he waits, the more dangerous this becomes. There's a part of him that's afraid of how far these people will go to protect their secrets. But he pushes that fear aside. The truth must come out. Voiceover. The boss knows the risk is high, but he has no choice. It's time for a showdown. He's ready to confront Sarah and Jake, but what will they do when they're faced with the truth? And what will he do if they try to silence him? The first meeting is with Sarah. She walks into his office, her face pale. There's a nervous energy about her, but she tries to cover it with a forced smile. She doesn't know what the boss has uncovered, and the tension in the air is thick. Sarah sits down across from the boss, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. The boss doesn't waste time. He slides the papers across the table, letting Sarah see the evidence of the illegal activities. Her eyes widen in shock, and for a moment, she says nothing. The silence is deafening. Voiceover. Sarah knows the jig is up. The boss has the evidence, and there's no way to deny it now. But will she confess, or will she try to cover her tracks and protect her own skin? The boss leans forward, watching her closely. Sarah, I need you to explain this to me. How long have you been involved in this? Why didn't you come to me sooner? Sarah swallows hard, her eyes darting nervously. I didn't want to get caught. It started small, just one bad decision, but it snowballed. I never meant for it to go this far. Please, don't report me. I can fix this. I can make it right. Voiceover. Sarah's confession hangs in the air. She's not denying it, but she's pleading for a way out. She knows she's in deep, but what she doesn't know is that the boss already has more than enough evidence to bring the entire operation down. The boss doesn't flinch. You're not the only one involved, are you? This wasn't just you. You've been working with someone, and I'm not leaving until I find out who else is behind this. Sarah's face pales even further. She tries to compose herself, but the guilt and fear are evident in her shaking hands. I can't say. They'll hurt me. Please, you don't understand what they're capable of. The boss watches her, his expression hardening. You don't get it, Sarah. You've already put yourself in this situation. The only way out is the truth. Who else is involved? For a moment, it looks like Sarah might break, but then she hesitates. She knows the consequences of betraying her partners. But just as she's about to speak, the office door opens abruptly. Jake walks in, his eyes narrowing when he sees the tension between Sarah and the boss. Voiceover. Jake walks in at the worst possible moment. He knows something's wrong. He can feel the heat in the room. And now, the boss has both of them cornered. It's time for the final reveal. The boss stands up, facing Jake. Jake, I know what you've been doing. I have the evidence. This isn't just about you anymore. It's about everyone who's been involved in this. I want names, and I want the truth. Jake's expression hardens, and he steps forward, his jaw clenched. You don't know what you're messing with. This isn't just some small-time scheme. This goes much deeper than you realize. Voiceover. Jake's words send a chill down the boss's spine. The truth is bigger than he ever imagined, and the stakes are higher than ever. But the boss won't back down now. He's come too far to turn back. The boss's pulse quickens. Tell me everything, Jake. Who else is involved? What's really going on here? Jake takes a deep breath, his eyes flicking toward Sarah. He knows that the end is near. If he tells the boss everything, his life is over. But if he doesn't, They're all going down together. The air in the office is thick with tension. The moment Sarah and Jake have revealed the deeper web of corruption that runs through their company, the boss is left standing at the edge of a precipice. Every decision from this point on could cost him everything: his company, his reputation, and perhaps even his freedom. But one thing is certain: he's come too far to back down now. The boss, shaken but resolute, stands in front of Sarah and Jake, his mind racing. Their confessions have given him the answers he sought, but the more he learns, the more questions arise. The network of corruption stretches far beyond his employees. He knows now that powerful players outside the company are pulling the strings, people with enough influence to destroy his life in an instant. Voiceover. The boss has uncovered the shocking truth. What started as a simple investigation has now spiraled into a full-blown conspiracy that threatens to bring down everything he's worked for. He's standing at the crossroads of his career, and he must make a choice. But the choices aren't as simple as they seem. Every step could lead to his downfall. Jake's words echo in the boss's ears. This goes much deeper than you realize. The people we've been working for, outside the company, they're dangerous. They won't hesitate to ruin you if you get in their way. The warning is clear. Whoever these people are, they don't play by the rules. They'll stop at nothing to protect their interests. But the boss doesn't have much time. His next move is crucial, and he knows that he can't afford to hesitate. He's worked hard to build his company, and it's everything to him. He can't let these criminals destroy it from the inside. But even more pressing is his own safety. He can already feel the walls closing in, and he knows that the people behind this operation won't go down quietly. The boss turns to Sarah, her face pale with fear. She's seen the truth in his eyes, and now there's no turning back. "Who are they, Sarah?" he asks in a low, measured voice. "Who's running this operation? You're not the ones in charge. Who's really pulling the strings?" Sarah looks at Jake, and for a brief moment, the boss catches a flicker of hesitation in her eyes. Jake, sensing the growing tension, shifts uncomfortably. "You don't want to know," Sarah finally mutters, her voice trembling. "You can't fight them. You're just one person. They'll destroy you." Voiceover. Sarah is scared. She knows that the truth could bring about their downfall, but she's too afraid to reveal the full extent of the conspiracy. The boss is up against more than just his employees now. He's up against a dangerous network that has no mercy. The boss presses on, determined to get to the heart of the matter. Who do I need to watch out for? Tell me now. And maybe there's a chance for you, both of you. He can see the fear in Sarah's eyes. She knows this is the moment that could make or break everything. But even as she opens her mouth to speak, the sound of footsteps in the hallway catches their attention. The boss's blood runs cold. Someone is coming, and if they catch him here, it will be game over. Without thinking, he quickly grabs the stack of documents and hides them under his desk. Sarah and Jake exchange uneasy glances, clearly realizing the gravity of the situation. They all know that time is running out. Voiceover. The tension in the room is palpable. The boss knows he has mere moments before everything falls apart. The stakes have never been higher. But who's coming? And what will they do when they find out what the boss has uncovered? The door to the office swings open. The boss's heart skips a beat as a tall figure enters. The head of security, Greg. He's calm, but there's something unsettling about his demeanor. He glances at Sarah and Jake, then turns his gaze to the boss. His eyes are cold, calculating. "Boss, we need to talk," Greg says, his voice steady, but there's an underlying threat in his tone. The boss feels a chill run down his spine. This isn't a routine check-in. This is something else. Greg knows something, and if he's here now, it means that the danger is closer than ever. Voiceover. Greg's entrance changes everything. The head of security is no mere messenger. He's the one who's been watching, observing, and he's far more involved than the boss realizes. The walls are closing in, and the boss has no choice but to face the truth head-on. The boss stands up slowly, his mind racing. "What's going on, Greg?" he asks, trying to keep his voice steady. "I'm in the middle of something important." Greg steps closer, his gaze never leaving the boss. "I know what you're doing," he says, his voice low and dangerous. "I know what you've uncovered, and it's not something you can just walk away from." He takes a step forward, closing the distance between them. The boss can feel the tension in the room, the weight of Greg's words pressing down on him. Voiceover. The boss realizes, in that moment, that Greg is not just a loyal employee. He's part of something much darker. The security chief has been the silent enforcer behind the operation all along. The boss stands his ground, refusing to show any sign of fear. "You're behind this, aren't you?" he says, his voice cutting through the silence. "You've been involved from the start. You're not just the head of security. You're the one pulling the strings." For a brief moment, there's a flicker of surprise in Greg's eyes, but it quickly disappears, replaced by a cold, emotionless stare. "You're smarter than I gave you credit for," Greg says with a twisted smile. "But you're too late. This isn't just about your company anymore. It's about power. And if you think you can take us down, you're gravely mistaken." Voiceover. The truth comes crashing down. The boss has uncovered a conspiracy that stretches beyond just his employees. Greg, the head of security, has been the mastermind all along. And now, it's too late to stop it. The boss knows now that he's facing a far more dangerous enemy than he ever imagined. Greg isn't just the head of security. He's the leader of the operation, the person who's been orchestrating the entire scheme. And now that the boss knows too much, Greg won't hesitate to eliminate him. With a sudden movement, Greg grabs the boss by the collar, shoving him back into his chair. "You're out of your league," he sneers. "This is bigger than you. You're just a pawn. And now you're going to pay for getting in our way." Voiceover. The boss is trapped. The mastermind behind the operation is standing right in front of him, and there's no way out. The game is over, and the boss must decide. Will he give in, or will he fight for everything he's worked for? The boss, struggling to maintain his composure, looks Greg in the eye. "I won't back down," he says, his voice filled with defiance. "You may have the power now, but I'll find a way to take you down. I'll expose you, and I'll make sure you pay for everything you've done." Greg chuckles, clearly unbothered. "You don't have the time, boss. You don't have the resources. This is over." But just as Greg moves to tighten his grip, the door to the office bursts open again. This time, it's a group of law enforcement officers, led by a detective who's been investigating the operation from the outside. They've been tracking the money laundering and illegal dealings, and they finally connected the dots. The boss, despite the danger, had unknowingly provided them with the evidence they needed. Voiceover. The boss's fight isn't over yet. Just when he thought all was lost, help arrives from an unexpected source. But will the law be able to save him in time, or is it already too late to escape the consequences?